This young man's video is so incredibly ignorant that while one part of me wanted to simply ignore it, another part felt that I had to respond to it. To a certain extent, I do kind of feel that this guy is obviously such a sheltered, ignorant person that it's hardly worth responding to this, but maybe he would actually listen to reason, so I thought I would try it. First of all, you're obviously a very young person without much experience in the real world, and obviously you've lived a very sheltered life if only recently you have discovered that there are Jews and Muslims in the world, as well as atheists. It's not much to base an opinion on when you don't know something that basic until recently. Have you ever heard of Hindus, Buddhists, Shinto, Zoroastrians? There are so many religions out there in the world other than just Christianity and Islam and Judaism. I'd be interested to know why you don't like Judaism. I guess it's probably because you think they killed Jesus, but that's beside the point. The important point is, first of all, to get to your idea of asking atheists for evidence. Atheists don't have any evidence for what they say because what they say is they don't believe you. You make a claim and you start with unsubstantiated premises. You say everything needs to have a creator except God because he is the eternal creator. Well, yes, if you accept that as a basic premise, then you can go from there with any argument you want. But first you have to prove that. Why doesn't God need a creator? If God exists and he has no creator, why can't the universe exist without a creator? You've already proven that in your mind you can believe that something very big, very powerful, and very complex could exist without any creator, and that would be God. Something that by his very nature must be of higher order of being than the entire universe if he created the universe. So you believe that something even more spectacular than the universe itself can simply be. If you can accept that, then why can't you accept that just maybe the universe itself can just be? But the fact of the matter is, while many atheists do like to talk about evolution and the Big Bang and the things that science is working on to try to explain the world we live in, none of them matter. If I were to tell you right now that I knew for sure that evolution was completely wrong, and the Big Bang theory is completely wrong, and everything we know about science is completely wrong, it still would not go one step towards proving what you believe. You cannot prove your beliefs simply by saying that other people's beliefs are wrong, because you already do that. You think the Jews are wrong. I'm sure you would think Hindus are wrong, or Shintos are wrong, and they think you're wrong. But the only way we can distinguish between reality and fantasy is through observation, trying to make predictions, and learning. Your stance is that you don't want to do any of those things. You have a belief, and that is right, period. If you continue in that belief, you will never be anything but ignorant, and that's sad. To get to some more disturbing points, first of all, I don't like the way you hide your face in your videos. It reminds me of the old American Ku Klux Klan, which you probably don't know about if you just recently learned about Jews and Muslims. But it was basically a terrorist organization in the United States where the people involved put sheets over their heads so they couldn't be identified. But I guess that would make sense since you are out there threatening, I don't believe you could ever pull it off, but threatening to hack people's computers and take down their sites and damage their channels. But this also fits, and I hope you will look deep into your heart and think about this. It fits with a terrorist mentality, the idea that your ideas and your beliefs are so weak and so lacking in foundation that the only way you can compete in the world is to stop the people whose ideas actually do make sense, whose ideas have evidence to back them up. You must shut them up because your ideas are weak. You don't see atheists running around saying that they're going to tear down Christian channels or get rid of Christian speakers because we know our ideas are strong. They're not always right. In fact, You mentioned in your video that scientists never like to admit they're wrong. That shows your ignorance right there. The whole basis of science is the admission that they don't know, or scientists never like to admit they don't know. That's the basis of science. Science is always admitting that it doesn't know. That's why they're out there looking for answers. If scientists had always said that, the scientific method's been going on for a few hundred years now, really. Once they got a few things figured out, Newton, Galileo, a couple things like that, and just decided that they know it all and they're not going to learn anything else because they know everything, we would still be at that point. But they continue to look for new answers. They spend billions of dollars building the super collider so that they can try to discern the secrets of the world. And the reason that you will see that science changes its mind so often is not because scientists are ignorant or don't know. It's because they are willing to learn new things. They understand that what they know now could either turn out to be wrong or at least need to be modified somewhat, such as the theory of evolution, which I'm sure you hate. But evolution has changed since Darwin first proposed it. He had a good basis of an idea, but he would not be able to lecture on today's evolutionary theory because it has changed quite a bit since he first came up with the basic idea. Because scientists learn. They add to what they know. They throw out what doesn't seem to be right. By contrast, you refuse to learn. You refuse to listen to ideas that don't conform to a book written 2,000 years ago by people who were much more ignorant than you are, because they had no way to know more. It's not their fault. They were nomads wandering in a desert. They knew nothing of science, nothing of the universe, and they made up stories. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it doesn't make them wise, and it doesn't make them the right people to base your life on. But to get back to your basic point about scientists and atheists, that they don't have evidence for their beliefs, you must first understand that atheists are not promoting a belief. They are simply asking you to prove your belief and stating that until you can, they will refuse to believe it. I'll make one small correction. There are some, what they call Gnostic atheists, who absolutely say there is no God. And I will say I think they are at least as foolish as you are, because they can't, well, that might be pushing it, but they're still making an assertion that they cannot prove, and it does them no good. At least the assertion you prove makes you feel good. Perhaps theirs makes them feel good too. I would have to say, if someone were to force me to bet my life on it and they had the answer, I would bet there is no God. But I won't say that I absolutely know that. You will say that you absolutely know things that you don't know, that you have no way of knowing, and that you will never know because you won't investigate. I hope that you will watch this and that you will at least think about opening your mind to possibilities that exist outside of the book that you have been raised on. Nobody was trying to hurt you when they raised you with those beliefs. I'm sure your parents are good people, your neighbors are good people, but you've been raised basically to believe that one 2,000-year-old book, about which we're not even certain of the authorship or anything else, is the be-all and end-all of existence, and that is the one final authority. If you never expand your mind beyond that, you will unfortunately never be anything but ignorant. If you really have the skills you have, you're obviously not stupid, but you are ignorant. And I hope that you will listen to this and actually begin to read with an open mind some things about science. Don't read what the creationists tell you about science. Read it with an open mind, and if you have questions, ask someone who knows about science. Don't ask a preacher. Don't ask a creationist. Ask someone who knows about science. You already know the creationist side of the argument. If you're going to learn, now you have to listen to the other side of the argument. And the only reason you would not do that is out of fear that you might discover that the other side could be right. Because that's a difficult thing to do. When I left my church, it was not an easy thing to do, but you may find yourself feeling much better for it. Either way, keep an open mind and quit making threats. It makes you look really stupid. Here's hoping that you do better in life than you've done with this video.